The kids are finally asleep. The last work email has been answered. You survived another day of meetings, decisions, and deadlines. You were flawless. Your brain knows you should eat something healthy. But your body is screaming for something else. A relief. A reward. And in a single second, the fortress of your discipline crumbles. You turn, open the cabinet, and the monster you kept chained up all day is free. This isn't a lack of willpower. It's a biochemical collapse. And what if I told you the cause wasn't your decision at that moment, but the one you made at lunch? During the day, you are a fortress. Every no to the sweet treat, every completed task, every tough decision is a medal on the chest of your discipline. But when night comes, that same fortress crumbles like a sandcastle. And in the midst of the wreckage of an empty package, you ask yourself the same question, night after night. What is wrong with me? You diagnose yourself as undisciplined, unfocused, lazy, and shameless. I know this diagnosis because I signed it myself for years. I was the queen of performance, the executive who traded lunch for a meeting and sleep for a spreadsheet. I believed my willpower was a bottomless well until my body declared bankruptcy. Burnout and autoimmune disease diagnoses were the price I paid for treating my body like a machine. It was in that ruin that I discovered the truth. And that is why today, I am the sovereign of vitality. And the truth I learned is this: your diagnosis is wrong. You are not weak. You are, in fact, a high-performance athlete of willpower, and you are suffering from chronic muscle fatigue. Your willpower is not a moral issue. It is a finite resource that your successful routine is depleting before nightfall. Today, we will drop the whip of guilt and pick up the lantern of science. I will show you the truth about your willpower muscle and how your own healthy choices during the day are draining its energy. We will unmask the thief living in your lunch plate and expose the mental trap that makes you believe you deserve to be sabotaged. Prepare to understand the biochemistry behind your nightly collapse. The day begins like a manual of perfection. You wake up early, meditate, drink your green juice, and dominate your to-do list with the precision of a general. You are the personification of discipline, a fortress of willpower. Every no to the cheese bread in the meeting, every email answered efficiently. Everything seems to confirm that this time you are in total control. It's an intoxicating feeling of power. And then, the clock strikes 8 at night. The office lights go out, or the children finally fall asleep. The silence arrives, and with it, an enemy you weren't expecting. That same fortress of discipline you inhabited during the day begins to show cracks. Suddenly, the idea of preparing a salad for dinner seems like a Herculean, almost impossible task. The couch calls to you, and the delivery app whispers promises of immediate pleasure. What happens in that moment, my dear, is not laziness. It is bankruptcy. You need to understand the first law of personal sovereignty. Your willpower is not a character trait you either have or don't. It is not infinite. It is a muscle, the most overworked muscle in your body. And like any muscle, after a full day of intense use, it reaches exhaustion. It simply fails. Think about it like a workout at the gym. You wouldn't go to your personal trainer and say, "Today I want to run a marathon, and right after I want to break my personal best on the deadlift." He would look at you like you were crazy because he understands muscle fatigue. Yet, this is exactly what you demand of your mind. You put it through a marathon of decisions and impulse control, and then expect it to have the strength for the heaviest lift of all, saying no to immediate pleasure. And here is the cruel paradox that no one tells you. The more successful and disciplined you are during the day, the more brutal the fatigue of this muscle is at night. Every decision you make, every deadline you meet, every temptation you resist, is a rep in your willpower gym. You arrive at 8 p.m. having done more reps than anyone else. Your muscle is literally more tired than everyone else's. In my former life, I was proud of this. I measured my worth by the number of decisions I could make in an hour. I was the problem solver, the one everyone turned to. What I didn't realize was that every yes to a new project, every no to a distraction, was another plate I added to the barbell. By the end of the day, I had lifted tons, and my reward was to face the monster of nightly cravings with my willpower muscle completely in shreds. The battle was already lost before it had even begun. You were taught to train this muscle to failure, thinking it would make you stronger. The truth? You are just setting the stage for nightly sabotage, but the fatigue of this muscle is only half the story. There is a silent thief that enters the scene exactly when your defenses are low, a biochemical trigger that makes resistance almost impossible. And ironically, it lives in your healthy lunch plate. So who is this thief hiding in plain sight in your seemingly innocent lunch? It's not an exotic ingredient or a complex poison. It is instability. More specifically, the blood sugar roller coaster that you build yourself every day with the best of intentions. You, the master of optimization, have unintentionally created the perfect system to sabotage your own evening. It's a work of art of self-sabotage, and you haven't even noticed. Picture the scene. Noon. You are proud to have refused the pasta and ordered the light option, a giant, colorful salad with a zero-calorie dressing. Or maybe a whole wheat wrap with turkey breast and light cheese. It seems like the choice of a CEO who takes care of herself, doesn't it? The problem, darling, is that this dish is a Trojan horse. It is poor in good fats and quality proteins, the two advisors that guarantee satiety and stability for hours. I used to observe what I call the salad cult in corporate cafeterias, a parade of glass jars where brilliant women would silently compete to see who had the cleanest and most virtuous meal. What they didn't realize was that by assembling that plate of leaves, vegetables, and maybe some tasteless grilled chicken, they were signing a contract for desperate hunger at 4 p.m. And it was no coincidence that the cookie tray in the break room became the most popular meeting spot at that exact time. Your body digests these healthy carbohydrates quickly, giving you a brief energy spike around 2 p.m. But what goes up must come down. Around 4 or 5, your blood sugar plummets. This free fall, my dear, is a panic signal for your brain. It understands this as a threat to survival. And in an emergency, who does it call to solve it? Your pleasure intern, with his cravings for easy and immediate solutions. And here's the kicker. Dealing with this blood sugar drop demands immense effort from your body and mind. Maintaining focus, patience, and a good mood during this dip consumes gigantic amounts of your willpower muscle. Every hour you spend fighting off the afternoon slump is like doing 100 reps of an exhausting exercise. You are not just psychologically tired, you are biochemically depleted before you even leave the office. Think of your willpower as your phone battery. A balanced lunch keeps you at 100% through the afternoon. But the fit lunch means you're already starting the afternoon at 30% battery. Then comes a boring meeting. 25%. The traffic on the way home, 15%. An unexpected phone call, 10%. You arrive home with your battery in the red, in power-saving mode. In this condition, your brain doesn't have the resources to make complex decisions. It only has enough energy for the simplest task, activating the immediate reward trigger. So you arrive home, not only with your willpower muscle fatigued from your workday, but also biochemically debilitated by your lunch choice. The stage is perfectly set for disaster. And the setting for this play of sabotage is, ironically, the place you should feel safest, your own couch. Finally, the couch. After a day of being the general, the strategist, and the peacemaker, this is your sanctuary, the moment when you can finally switch off. You throw yourself on the couch, and the first thing you do is let out a sigh of relief. A sigh that says, "It's over. I don't have to think anymore. I don't have to decide anymore." And it is in that very sigh, my dear, that you hand over the keys of your empire to the enemy. Because switching off for a high-performing woman isn't resting. It's activating autopilot. Your executive CEO, exhausted from making decisions all day, finally goes home. And who takes over the cockpit? Your habits. Those programs that run in the background, recorded over years of repetition. And the strongest habit recorded for evening relaxation almost always involves an oral reward. The couch itself is a trigger. It is associated in your mind with the ritual. Turn on Netflix, grab your phone for the infinite scroll, and what shall we snack on? Your environment is perfectly optimized for failure. Think of your brain as an exhausted pilot after a long flight. He doesn't want to perform a complex manual landing. He just wants to push the auto land button. The couch, the remote, the delivery app, these are the buttons for that autopilot. What you are feeling here has a name: decision fatigue. Imagine you start the day with 100 decision power coins. Every email you answer costs 1 coin. Every negotiation, 5. Every time you resist an impulse, 10. By the time you get home, you have no more coins to buy a wise decision like cooking vegetables. You only have enough credit for the cheapest and easiest option, giving in to the habit. So, the scene is complete. A fatigued muscle, a biochemically unstable brain, and an environment that conspires against you. Your defenses are in ruins, but one last act is missing for the sabotage to be complete. It's the story you tell yourself to justify the surrender, to turn defeat into an apparent victory. And this internal negotiation is the most dangerous of all. So, the scene is complete. A fatigued muscle, a biochemically unstable brain, and an environment that conspires against you. Your defenses are in ruins, but one last act is missing for the sabotage to be complete. It's the story you tell yourself to justify the surrender, to turn defeat into an apparent victory. This internal negotiation, my dear, has a name: the moral license. It is the most sophisticated self-deception mechanism that your high-performing mind has ever created. It's not an excuse. It's a fraudulent contract you sign with yourself. The main clause: your suffering and discipline during the day give you the right to the reward at night. Remember your executive CEO and your pleasure intern. At 8 p.m., the CEO, exhausted, listens to the intern's proposal. We suffered. We deserve this. It's a matter of justice. And too tired to negotiate, she signs the deal. I remember once I closed a record-breaking quarter. I had spent weeks eating chicken and salad at the office to fit into my dress for the celebration party. That night, I didn't have 1 glass of champagne. I had 5 and then ate 2 entire desserts thinking, I earned this. This is my bonus. The next day, I woke up bloated, tired, and with devastating guilt. The reward cost me my performance the following day. That was the day I started to investigate this contract I had with myself. And this justice materializes in the form of ice cream, wine, or whatever your kryptonite may be. You don't feel like you're failing. You feel like you're claiming a right. If you have ever found yourself in the middle of the night thinking, I deserve this after the day I've had, know that you are not alone. Leave a comment below with the phrase, I resign from this agreement. I want to know who is so sovereign as to tear up this contract. But how do you resign from a deal that seems so fair? The first step isn't force, it's clarity. Your first tool of power is the mapping protocol. Before giving in to the nightly craving, take a piece of paper and do a 3-step crisis mapping. Step 1. What is the real trigger? Step 2. What emotion am I feeling? Step 3. What is the desire behind the desire? I don't want chocolate, just a moment of peace. Just seeing this on paper already breaks the power of the impulse. By doing this, you separate the craving from the justification. You cease to be the victim of the impulse and become the observer of the pattern. This doesn't solve the entire cycle overnight, but it gives you a moment of power. Understanding and dismantling all these triggers is deeper work. It's the complete system I detail in the guide, The End of Self-Sabotage. But the first step is to simply turn on the light in the boardroom of your mind and take control. The decree is made. Now you know the truth. Your nightly collapse is not a character flaw. It is the predictable result of a full day fighting battles, with a fatigued willpower muscle and a biochemistry that conspires against you. You are not weak. You are, in fact, operating with the wrong tools. But knowledge by itself doesn't change the game. True sovereignty is born from action. The mapping protocol I gave you is not just any exercise. It is your first decree to nullify the moral license before it is triggered. Use it. Become the observer of your own system, instead of remaining a prisoner of it. The question I leave you with to seal this decree is, what was the last story you told yourself to justify the sabotage? What was the reward you gave yourself, which the next day exacted a high price in vitality? Share in the comments if you dare. Remember, this is a territory of sovereigns, not of judges. If you have decided to stop being a hostage to your own impulses, then your first act as the ruler of your mind begins now. Subscribing to this channel is not a click. It is your public declaration that you are taking the throne of your biochemistry. Subscribe and activate notifications, because in our next decree, we will move out of your mind and into your house. We will expose the 5 silent saboteurs in your kitchen that no diet app can see. Your empire needs this intelligence.